Even close. Democrats don't care about black people,
Okay,
and they don't care about people. They don't care about people of color, and the Republicans do, and that's the misconception.
And you know what? I agree with you 100%. People don't know that the Democrats is the party of the KKK.
Yep.
People don't know that the Republicans are the party that freed the slaves.
Yep.
I mean, both of you and I have some conservative views. You just a little bit more outspoken about it than I am. And I honestly don't subscribe to either party. I rock with W.E.B. Du Bois when he said there's no such thing as two parties. It's just one evil party with two different names. So
yeah, I mean,
we got the Gulf of America now.
Period.
He's charging, he's like the club. He's charging a $5 million bottle service fee to get into the country.
I know. Listen. But guess what?
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I got a good one for you guys. All right. Have a seat. Grab your drink. Grab your snacks. We're going to go in. All right. I want to thank each and every last one of you for tuning into this multi-million dollar podcast. I'm Kev Prosper, founder and CEO of Prosperity. You are tuned into Love and Money on Prosperity Plus. Thank you for contributing to the Cash App at $ProsperityULLC. Thank you for visiting the website below at prosperunlimited.com. And thank you for liking, subscribing, following, and sharing. That's right, boys and girls. And remember to invest in the brand Prosperity ULLC. Build wealth, travel boldly, live royally. All right, let's do it. So, I have two really good topics to talk about. They're celebrity related, yet they are socially related. So the first celebrity I want to talk about, he made a comment on the nature and culture of politics in America. And he's kind of exposing and lifting the wool on the eyes of a particular community. And that's our first topic. And the second topic, this next celebrity wants to go on a campaign, per se. Not a political campaign, but a social campaign. And at the expense of another celebrity who they had relations with at one point in time, far in the far past. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to we're going to highlight this celebrity and the statement that they're making, the first celebrity and the statement that they're making, and then we're going to highlight the second celebrity and the statement that they're making, right? And we're going to and show how this relates to society in our everyday lives. All right. So let's get into the first topic. Nick Cannon. The Cannon. So this guy mentions that the KKK, or not the KKK, but the Democratic Party. Hold on. He mentions that the Democratic Party is a party of the KKK, pretty much, and then he kind of like leapfrogs in history and talks about how black people don't know. Most people don't know that the Republicans freed the slaves. So we're gonna tie all that in together. But there's no better way to kick over a sacred cow than to attack politics. There's two topics where psychologically is like life and death for some people, and if it's not religion, it's politics, or both. You know what I mean? You do not want to cross that line. And so, but for as long as I can remember, the Democratic Party was considered a black party, right? If you were black, you were typically or more likely or statistically more likely to vote blue, right? But why? No one ever questioned why. I mean, I think most black people, we don't question why. As children, we're taught when we ask our parents why, it's a sign of disrespect. I even catch myself doing it from time to time, and I have to continually. I've never actually got upset at my child for asking me why. I never took it as disrespect, but there was always a whisper in the back of my mind, like, why are they asking me why? Are they trying to be defiant right now, or are they trying to understand what it is that I'm telling them to do? You know, and but it starts in the home, and in the black community, a lot of how black people raise their kids is handed down generationally, And so in the same way a child is seen as being disrespectful or not disruptive, but disobedient for asking why, is in the same vein whereas a black person in the black community asking why. Why do we vote Democrat? Why do we vote Democrat regardless of who's running? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the undertone is because when we look at the Republicans, we see a lot of them on the Republican side. We see a lot of the red hats and the extremists, the extreme conservatives. You know what I mean? And we automatically assume that they're just anti-black outright because of the things that they stand for seem to be anti-black people. You know what I mean? A lot of the rules and regulations and laws and policies and subsidies in place that support black people, they're the ones that want to tear down. So inherently, because you're black, you ought to vote blue, right? But that's changing. I feel like that's beginning to change. The paradigm is shifting. And black people are getting smarter. You know what I mean? I think that's safe to say. I think is it safe to say? Black people are getting smarter. Now, what does that imply? Initially, black people were stupid. Like, you know what I'm saying? What does that imply, right? But yes, so I do believe to a large degree. These are subjective words, right? Large. We're not quantifying it, but we're just throwing it out there. I do believe that to a large degree, black people have been stupefied into politics, where we've been told to vote for who we like, who's sexy, who's cool, who's popular, and we don't necessarily, and up to this point, we haven't necessarily been coached on, voting for policies, voting for stances, voting for, political views and philosophies, and voting, and understanding that the political game is going to be just that, the political game, and we're not always going to get what we want, and so it's important that we understand that. So Nick Cannon quoted, both you and I, he was talking to Amber Rose in the car. Both you and I have some conservative views. You're just a little bit more outspoken than I am. And then Cannon expressed appreciation for Trump's directness. He said, mother effers, clean the house, and doing what he said he was going to do. Now, how many politics do what they say they're going to do, right? You can hate, and I speak to my friend about Trump all the time. I speak to a good friend of mine about Trump all the time. And, they'll say, oh, Trump this, oh, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that. He's such an idiot. How much of an idiot is he? You know what I'm saying? How many politicians have done what they said they're going to do? You know what I mean? And that kind of effectiveness can be threatening. It's threatening to a degree. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, damn, like like Nick Cannon said, he's cleaning house. He's not playing around. You know what I'm saying? And he talked about, you know, the we have the Gulf of America now. You know what I'm saying? The Gulf of America, it used to be Gulf of Mexico. Now it's the Gulf of America. He's like, he's charging $5 million a bottle. A service fee to get in the country. $5 million a bottle service fee to get in the country. Rack them up. 777. Rack them up. You know what I'm saying? But this is the type of time that he's on. You know, and as threatening as it may be, you have to respect it. You know, you have to respect it. And that's a president's president. You know, you're not just, now maybe it's him being effective, or maybe it's people and agencies in place that are, you know, pushing the envelope and moving the needle and turning the knobs. But nonetheless, it's under his regime, you know. And you know, there are very few moves that he's made, whether or not they may be beneficial to black people and the black community in America in the long run. They're beneficial to America. You know what I mean? And like, you ain't gotta like it, but you gotta respect it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. I'm gonna do brief, not even brief, brr history lesson. How did the Democratic Party become the black party? How did the blue become black? Right? Let's look into it. So in the mid 1800s, the roles of two parties regarding race and labor were opposite of what they are today. So the Republican Party, founded in 1854, specifically to stop the expansion of slavery. So the Republican Party was founded to stop slavery. Let's leave that right there. What? Under Abraham Lincoln, the GOP oversaw the Emancipation Proclamation and championed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. If you're not sure, if you don't know what those are, there's the classic 13th Amendment documentary on Netflix, exposing legal slavery per se. 14th and 15th, I'm not too sure what those are. I got to look those up. We ain't got time right now. But yeah, so the Republican Party was founded to stop slavery. Wow, come on, son. Can it get any better, right? The Democratic Party during that era was rooted in the South and served as a primary defender of slavery and states' rights. Because you got to remember, this was the main moneymaker for those red states, for the states that are red now. That was their main moneymaker. You know what I'm saying? Slavery. So it's like, and that's pretty much why when slavery ended, the South became pretty much desolate. Nobody, now corporations and businesses are moving there to operate their wholesale distributions, but there's not really much economic boom. The NBA is talking about moving the Memphis Grizzlies out of Memphis. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not working. It's just not working. But yeah, that was the whole political tug of war going on in the South during that era. So I mean, of course, if you were a black person in America at that time, you would more than likely be Republican. Magical. The Ku Klux Klan, founded in 1865, between 1865 and 1866, by Confederate veterans, largely Southern Democrats. Wow, what a coincidence, right? Rack them up. The early KKK functioned as a paramilitary wing for the Democratic Party. Their goal was to use domestic terrorism to suppress black political power and intimidate carpetbagger Republicans. Carpetbagger Republicans. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. So a lot of people think that the KKK was founded just out of pure utter racism. No, it was a political party. It was a political paramilitary to the Democratic Party. So historically, historically, Nick Cannon's quote may be a little inaccurate, but yet it is still relevant. You see what I'm saying? It's still relevant. So you can't really deny him. The transition. Now let's talk about the transition. So later on in the 20th century, the monolithic identities of the parties began to fracture due to economic shifts and internal migration. So the Great Migration, millions of blacks moved from the South to the North. They gained political voices within Northern democratic machines that focus more on urban labor issues than Southern racial caste systems. Okay. The New Deal. During the Great Depression, President Franklin D. Roosevelt expanded federal social programs though many Southern Dixiecrats remained segregationists. The economic relief offered the New Deal began attracting black voters away from the party of Lincoln for the first time. Okay, so Roosevelt, basically Roosevelt turned black people blue. That's basically what it's saying. He offered a lot of subsidy. You know what I'm saying? He offered a lot of subsidy and attracted black voters, pretty much, especially the black voters in the South. You know what I mean? Because now, you know, the Civil War is over. We're now a union, so we need the South now. The South is a part of us now. We need the South, and we need those Southern votes. You know, and Roosevelt happened to be a Democrat, and he wanted to attract, you know, black votes, attract the black vote. And so, even though the Democrat was originally racist, or originally, you know, rooted in the KKK, but he wanted to flip that. So a bipartisan KKK. During the second wave of the KKK, the organization's influence spread nationwide. Membership was often divided. In some regions, Klansmen were Democrats, while others, like the Midwest, they were affiliated with the Republican Party. So here's where, like, this is key, because this is how the schism in the between the Democrats and the Republicans began. Because you got black people switching over to the Democrats, even though the Democrats were originally racist, and then you got white people in different parts of the country, some switching over to Republicans, some switching over to Democrats, simply because the agenda changed. You know what I mean? Roosevelt was trying to appeal to the blacks, even though he was Democrat. You know what I mean? So the agendas changed, and now this is where things begin to flip. So now let's look at the 1960s through the 1980s. This era represents the party switch that Nick Cannon's comments largely omit. The catalyst was the federal government's intervention in civil rights. The Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Democratic President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the act into law. While it passed with a higher percentage of Republican support than Democratic support. So the Republicans supported the Civil Rights Act. That's crazy. You wouldn't think that, right? But a higher percentage of Republican support than Democratic support due to the Dixiecrats, right? The Dixiecrats, with the Southern Democrats back then. So once again, you know, the signing effectively alienated white segregationists based. It alienated the white segregationist base of the Democratic Party. So the white Democrats of the 1960s, you know what I'm saying, got alienated. So now it's like, well, so now they said, what's the Democratic Party doing for us? Let's switch over Republican, right? The Southern strategy. In response, Republicans began appealing to disaffected white Southern voters. Figures like Barry Goldwater and later Richard Nixon utilized a states' rights platform to attract the conservative Southern base that was fleeing the now liberal Democratic Party. So this is how it changed, and I do believe we're in the middle of that shift. We're in the middle of another shift. I don't know how it's going to be explained or documented, but we're in the middle of another flip. I don't know if it's going to be a flip or what, but something's changing in the political waters. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not talking about amongst politics, but I'm talking about amongst the people. Something is changing. Like I said, black people ain't stupid no more. So, you know, something's changing. By the 1980s, the geographic and ideological strongholds had flipped. The South became a Republican's bastion, and black voters moved almost entirely, roughly 90%, to the Democratic Party by the 1980s. And then this is where you have, Jesse Jackson running for president. Jesse Jackson, and for those who may not know, Jesse Jackson was a close associate of Martin Luther King. And, Martin Luther King has a very special place in the hearts of baby boomer and Gen X black people. You know what I mean? But like I said, the baby boomers are dying off. And the Gen Xers are now the Gen Xers are beginning to wake up. The millennials and the Gen Zs, they don't really care for any kind of allegiance. They're like, I'm gonna vote for who makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like a few more generations removed, and the parties are gonna look entirely different. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But then later on in the clip, Nick Cannon was like, basically, in paraphrase, he basically alluded to, you simply have to pick the lesser of the two evils, because ultimately both of them are racist to some degree. I do believe you don't necessarily have to look at it in a sense of what they can do for black people, or what have they done for black people lately. You know what I mean? I think you need to look at it in a sense of what can black people do for themselves. Ultimately, you can't keep like relying on these politics. You can't keep you can't put too much faith in your vote. And because, like I said, first of all, there's too many stupid people voting. There's too many stupid people voting. People vote because of who they like. People vote for who's popular, who's cool, who's attractive. And nobody votes on. Not a lot of Americans are voting on political policies and views, and political stances and views. Like, they're not. They're just not. They're stupid. And so you can't rest assured that your vote will count when so many other flocks and masses of Americans are voting over here. You know what I'm saying? What's your one little vote? But people died for that right. So you always have to bear that in mind, right? But that's another conversation. Let's get into the next topic. Well. What do we have here? I don't have any notes for this one. I'm just gonna go off the head with it. You know what I'm saying? Let's rack it up. 777, baby. 777. Let's do it. Yes, this young lady right here. This young lady, Brandy. Yeah. Who'd have thunk it, right? Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? But yeah, she was out here. Nobody would have suspected it. It's very easy for good girls to be good girls in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? But you can't outrun the program. You can't. The program is undefeated. You can't outrun it. You know what I'm saying? You can only I don't know. I always say stay on the right side of right. You know what I'm saying? So that you can't go wrong. That's it. Stay on the right side of right. And everything else will follow. Whatever mud people want to sling at you, whatever dirt they want to throw on your name, it'll just brush off. You know what I mean? It'll just brush off. Water under the bridge. You know what I mean? It'll sting at first. You're like, dang, why are they talking about me like that? But then it's like, wait a minute. It don't make sense, right? Because you keep your dirt clean. You know what I'm saying? Your dirt is clean. You got to keep your dirt clean. I remember the Floetry singer, Ambrosia. I remember she said that on the Breakfast Club one day. Keep your dirt clean. I like that. Pause. And so yeah, the program is undefeated, and you know your whole facts will catch up with you. Your whole facts will catch up with you. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Now, people like if you look at this representation we have here, these are all just photos, right? Just come on, it's just innocent photos. Don't mean nothing, right? And cool, it probably doesn't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, you know, a lot of celebrity is, and I'm gonna talk about the celebrity world, but I'm gonna juxtapose it to the regular everyday people world. I like to do that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, celebrities have to play a relevant game. You know what I mean? They have to stay in the talks, stay in the tabloids, stay up to date. You know what I'm saying? They have to constantly feed the machine, put out new music, put out new, working on new projects, and so on and so forth. They got to keep it pushing, right? You know, 777, rock them up. They got to keep working, stay relevant. They got to play the relevancy game, and so they do things, you know, to spark up chitter chatter, you know. So yeah, you'll wake up one morning and this celebrity is dating that celebrity, you know. But then as time goes by, it's like, okay, you dated them, and now you dating them, and now you, and it's like, it may only be like a handful of guys, you know. But after a while, it's like it's the handful that everybody knows. You know what I mean? I always look at Kim Kardashian, a perfect example. You know, she's dated enough guys. Like if you would have go off of only the guys that she's been public with, right? She's dated enough guys to count on two hands, maybe, right? Just off of the public guys she's been public with, right? And each and every last one of them have been, you know, top 10% or 1% of men. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. But she's considered a hoe. Like this is what happens. This is the whole facts. You know what I'm saying? This is the whole facts. This is your whole facts report. You know what I'm saying? It's not about your body count. It's about your body account. And a lot of people don't like to admit to that. A lot of people don't like to count that. You know what I mean? And that's just too bad. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't make the rules here. I don't make the rules here. You know? But yeah, apparently Brandy was out here. Brandy was out here. It all kind of began to snowball when I think Shine went on The Breakfast Club, and then he always talks about this major R&B artist that he was dating at the time, and and whoever this anonymous major R&B artist woke him up. You know, it woke him up to becoming the rapper that he needed to be. You know what I'm saying? It snapped him out of the dream world that he was living in, and you know, made him want to get to it. You know what I mean? And it did. You know, sometimes it's that feminine energy. It's that power of a woman. You know, it kind of you know, brings it out of you sometimes, in a good way or a bad way. You know what I mean? You got to respect that feminine energy. And so he keeps this young lady anonymous, right? He keeps her anonymous. But then he goes to, and then, you know, now, you know, he's this reformed. He's a reformed rapper gangster. I call him a rapper gangster because from what I've heard about him, he's a gangster for real. Even though he grew up in my hood. I mean, yeah, but he's a little older than me. You know what I'm saying? So he's a little before my time. But he grew up in my hood. But he was a gangster for real, and then he became a rapper. So I call him a rapper gangster instead of a gangster rapper. Semantics, whatever. Okay, whatever. But yeah, you know, he's a reformed rapper gangster turned politician. You know what I mean? So you know, and you know, when you're a politician, you got to play the politician game. And so, you know, you want to be as squeaky clean as you can be. You know what I mean? And so once again, you know, he goes to the It Is What It Is podcast. He goes to the It Is What It Is podcast with Cameron and Mace, and then Cameron. Yo, you gotta love Cameron, bro. I've always been a Cameron fan. Man. Like, you know, he just makes you hold your head sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But like, Cameron just put it out there. He's like, yeah, what happened between you and Brandy, yeah? And now Shine is in the corner, like, yo, I ain't see this coming. Oh snap! Hold on, let me be political with it. And he's like, you know, hey, I was in the room, and you know, Mace was in the room too. And I was wondering, like, you know, what happened? Why is Mace in the same room as I am? And I confronted her about it, you know, and she was like, well, I've been with Mace, and Mace can be in the room while you're in the room too, you know. And so he tried to be political with it, clean it up, you know what I'm saying? Mace is a reformed rapper, not necessarily a gangster rapper. He's kind of like a ladies rapper, you know what I mean? But he was a reformed rapper turned pastor, you know. So he wants to, so Mace wants to clean it up too and try to be cordial about it. He's like, yeah, you know, it happened. That was the past. Yeah. So now it's out there. Now Brandy is looking away, right? She minding her business, and now her name is her whole facts her whole facts report is coming up now. You know what I'm saying? And it's looking shaky out here in these streets for her. You know, and she's still in entertainment. You know, she's still in entertainment. She's still moving and shaking. She's still trying to get to the chicken. You know what I mean? And she can't have that. She can't have that on her whole facts report. You know what I mean? So now she's shooting in the dark. She's shooting in the dark, and she's supposed to be putting out this memoir. You know what I'm saying? All the Gen X and millennials is going to read it because we all grew up on Moesha, right? Right? But yeah, she's trying to clean up her whole facts report, and she brings up so once again she's shooting at the dark, and she accidentally hits one of her past exes, Wanye. You know what I'm saying? He catches the stray. Talking about how, you know, we dated when I was 16 and he was 22, and I was a victim. Oh my God. You know? And mind you, this was damn near 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? To my knowledge, Brandy is currently, as I'm recording this, she's currently 47 years old. And Wanye is currently 52 or 53. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is so far behind them, but she's trying to paint this whole R. Kelly image. Brandy, we don't believe you. You need more people. Fuck out of here, son. Fuck out of here. We not buying that. We not buying that. You know what I mean? Now let me get into why we not buying that. Let me get into why we not buying that. So for all the emotional people, all the triggered people, all the traumatized people, they probably done clicked off or swiped off already. It's all right. Let them go. Let them go. Let them unlock the doors. Unlock the doors. You know what I'm saying? Unlock the doors. Let them go. Let them go. But he was 22. This is what Brandy quoted, not verbatim, but he was 22. She was 16. Right. This is the 90s. You know. I remember seeing this growing up. You know, this was a time when it was very culturally acceptable, maybe not legally, but it was culturally acceptable for older men to date younger women. That was almost trendy. It was a fad, you know, at the time, you know, before this whole Me Too, whatever, you know, I remember even before my time during the crack era in the 80s, there was a teen pregnancy epidemic. It wasn't young boys knocking up these young girls. It was grown men. It was grown men, and it was customary. You reach high school, oh, you know what I'm saying? There was grown men pulling up to the high school, pulling chicks, pulling broads. This was customary. I remember in my neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, hearing dudes talk about girls and, you know, saying like, yo, I gotta have me a young one, you know. I remember Jay-Z said, I forget which album it was, Jay-Z, he said it in his raps. No, it was Life and Times Volume 2. That was because that came out my junior year in high school. I never forget it. And he was like, "Give my hoes dick, young hoes pee-pee." You know what I'm saying? It was bars. It was bars at the time. So you know, this was a thing. I remember I'm dating myself. I'm so dating myself. I remember my freshman year in high school. Lil' Kim was 16 on that album cover. Foxy Brown had a hit song. She was 16. In the rap videos with grown ass men lusting after her with her titties out. It was what it was. You know, they say it is what it is. Nah, it was what it was. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of young ladies watching this who are in my age demographic who were dating men old enough to be old enough. You know what I'm saying? Way older than they were back then. You know what I mean? Come on, son. Come on, son. And this is a sketchy topic because there is an air of predatorship. You know what I'm saying? There is an air of predatorship and grooming and all of those things. There is an air of that, right? If you look at humanity, first of all, I know a lot of people have this first world lens that they can only see everything through. And if it's not like if the world doesn't look the way they've seen it in their, 100-mile radius, maybe, then they can't fathom it. It's just, it doesn't compute. But, nothing is new under the sun, really. Nothing is really new under the sun. And older men, when I say older, I just mean just that older men are going to be attracted to younger women. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I mean? And this is since the beginning of time. And I'll emphasize younger women, not younger girls. Younger women are just by nature, they're more attractive, they're more supple, and they're more fertile. That's nature, that's biology. I didn't make the rules here. I didn't make the rules here. What's the song go? How the song go? What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? What's a god to a, come on, let's sing along now. Sing along. Welcome to my church. You know what I'm saying? But using the word pray, I don't like that energy. I don't like. What are you insinuating and implicating and implying by using the word pray? Oh, he prayed on her. So he was 22. Okay, 22 and 16. I had to come to grips with it because, like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, where was I at the age of 22? What was I doing in my life at the age of 22? And would I have the temperament to date a 16-year-old at the age of 22? I'm like, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't date her. It would be a different kind of relationship. You know what I mean? As long as it's legal, of course, right? But yeah, I don't think maturity wise, I think 22 and 16 is like, it's not that big of a gap, but it could be a bit of a gap. But come on, some of y'all ladies watching this, y'all know, y'all been out here. Y'all been out here too. This isn't too left field for y'all. You know what I mean? Can we keep it a bean? Can we keep it a bean or not? You know what I mean? But yeah, 22 and 16, that might be a bit of a maturity. I wouldn't call it an age gap. I call it a maturity gap. That's like a 12-year-old dating a 14-year-old. You know what I mean? Like that's a maturity gap. And then, of course, once you get older and once you get into the 30s, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, it doesn't really matter at that point, but like those early developmental years, the maturity gaps are so wide. But I do know what kind of young boy I was at 16, and I do know how the girls were at 16. Let's keep that a bean. Can we be honest? Can we be honest? I remember those days. And I remember there were certain girls you couldn't come next to because they were dating guys older than you. That was a flex. It was very much a flex back then. And so to say that he preyed on her, you know what I'm saying? It sounds nasty. It sounds disgusting. Because just because he was older means that he preyed on her? Just because he was older. You know what I mean? And now let's do the hardest thing for most people to do, is put yourself in other people's shoes. Let's try it. Let's put ourselves in first of all, let's put ourselves in Wanye Morris's shoes. You know what I mean? 22, you a multi-diamond you are part of a multi-diamond R&B quartet called Boys to Men. You are traveling the world. Your song gets played on every radio station 100 times a day. Like you are the hottest thing smoking. You could have and probably had any kind of women that you could blink your eyes at. You know what I'm saying? Just falling in your lap. You're that guy. You're that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're it. So you mean to tell me you have all of this at your disposal and you're going to focus your energy and prey on a 16-year-old fellow R&B singer with a hit TV show? You're gonna put all that energy into her when you have all of this? You're gonna prey on her, really? Okay, right? Now let's put ourselves in Brandy's shoes. Once again, you're a fellow R&B singer. You're 16. You know what I'm saying? You got hit R&B records, and you have a hit sitcom TV show, right? And your fellow R&B singer walks into the room. You're 16, mind you, raging hormones and all. Your fellow R&B singer walks into the room, and he's that guy. He's a part of a legendary R&B quartet, right? And he's that guy. And he walks into the room. You mean to tell me you're not going to have a twinkle in your eye? You know what I'm saying? You're not going to have a twinkle in the eye. But just because you're 16, you're not capable of preying on him? Oh! Oh! What are we doing? But now, but I'm so sorry. You're the victim. You were just a vulnerable little girl. Like, yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Because it's convenient for you 20 years later to throw shade on this man's name because you were having an entire relationship openly with this man. You know what I'm saying? At the ages that y'all were at. It wasn't a one-time incident where he took advantage of you and, you know, imposed his will upon you and no, none of that. None of that. Y'all were having a well, questionably legal but consensual relationship, openly for a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? And from the way Wanye described it on the Breakfast Club years ago, the parents approved of it. Like, come on, son. What are we supposed to do with that? What are we supposed to do with that? But yet and still, Brandy was preyed upon with a track record like this. With an open track record, like with a whole facts report like this, out here in these streets. I rest my case, ladies and gentlemen. I rest my case, ladies and gentlemen. Wanye need to hire me. Wanye need to hire me, man. So, with that being said, I want to thank each and every last one of you for tuning into this multi-million dollar stream. I'm Kev Prosper, founder and CEO of Prosperity. You are tuned into Love and Money at Prosperity Plus. Thank you for contributing to the Cash App at $Prosperity LLC. Thank you for visiting the website below at prosperunlimited.com. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following, and sharing. And remember to invest in the brand, Prosperity LLC. Build wealth, travel boldly, live royally. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Be sure to shop Amazon with Prosperity LLC. Link in the description.
These are all of my books. My very first book, Lead the Fairy Tales Up to Disney, The Reality of Dating. Haunted Truths, a romance murder mystery set in the heart of Brooklyn during the 1980s, during the height of the crack era. Switch, my romantic comedy. My trilogy, Spirit of the Machine, 1, 2, and 3, sci-fi action thriller. My poem anthology, Red Garden. That is System of the Sun. It's my book on organizational skills. Don't wait till I get rich to buy that book. New Shoes, that's my book on self-esteem, on how to love yourself. Ratchetology, yes. I'm the ratchetologist. Take my advice. Visit prosperunlimited.com and click travel to book your next vacation.
pay. Do that freaky shit on the beat. Busy with the butter shit that gon' see. If you didn't double, that they song sing. Flicky with the butter shit that gon' do. If you cheeky, try to did her own cheese.